And we are live. We are here for the post-season review, excuse me. And as you can see, I'm joined by a few more faces than just Tommy and I. As always, I'm joined by Tommy. I'm also joined by Jazz and James. Boys, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. End of the season, so like you said, time to reflect. But more importantly for me, I just want to switch off for a number of weeks now. I think it's been 2 seasons back to back. I just want to switch off, give the keys to Mr. Sullivan, let him get on with the hard work while we all relax over the summer, I think. And when we come back, hopefully he'll have some nice surprises for us.
James, how you doing?
All good, mate. All good. All good. Thoroughly enjoyable season, and it feels good, mate, really. I'm very optimistic about the future now, like especially regards to signings at the club.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all good, man. All good.
And then my normal co-host, Tommy, how are you feeling, mate?
Feeling good now. Just we can kind of relax now. It's job done, isn't it? We can just relax now, look forward to the Euros, enjoy those, and keep an eye on the comings and goings at West Ham over the summer, and look forward to not just a new Premier League season, but Europa League football next season. So
yeah, that's
it's
very
going to
true.
be an enjoyable summer on the way, I think.
Yep. And as I said before, that this is the postseason review. We're going to go through a couple of moments. And I don't see anyone bringing up comments in the chat yet, but as people trickle in.
Sure they will. Yeah.
As people trickle in, if you have questions for anyone, whether it be a broad spectrum or for one of us individually, please feel free to put it in the chat and we'll try to get to them.
Yeah. And I guess we just kind of start at the start, really.
Yeah.
And I suppose the question I have first for James and Jazz is, what their own personal expectations, hopes, fears were coming into the season before a ball was kicked, because obviously a lot of the fan base were not thrilled with the appointment of Moyes in January of 2020. He did enough to keep us up. Before the lockdown, we looked pretty shaky, and for a couple of games after the restart, but we improved in the final few games of last season, and stayed up, thankfully. So, there was a lot of hand-wringing going on over the summer, not much optimism around. So I suppose, Jazz, I'll put it to you first and then James. But how were you feeling, pre-season going into this campaign?
I knew one thing, that we were not going to get relegated or be involved in a scrap. I knew that much. So my targets were 15th and upwards, with a view that, like previous seasons, with a month to go, we don't know if we're going to stay up or not. And we smashed that target. But I knew under David we're in good hands. He's well organised. And he's a bit like Sam in a way, like not playing style, but certainly in terms of, you can say what you want against Sam. But if you look in history, there's not many players who say that we don't like him or he lost the dressing room. So, these people have a command over the dressing room. They command respect. It's certainly for different reasons, for their hard work, for kind of how clever they are, tactically, man management, different reasons. So that was my original sort of. I wasn't afraid of anything. I just felt, once again, I didn't think in the window that, I always felt that we should have got 1 or 2 more players over the line. We didn't quite have enough in the squad. But I was optimistic that we certainly would be lower mid-table at the worst, really. Yeah, certainly no worries about relegation, or certainly no worries about David at all. No.
James?
I don't know. I was more sort of hoping for top 10. Like, I was hoping to get in the top 10. I thought to myself, you know what? We finished the season well. We stayed up. Everyone was sort of bouncing, looking forward to getting back. Don't forget, the turnaround was only about 4 to 6 weeks, I think it was, right before we started again. I agree with Jazz. The transfer windows, they could have been a bit more ambitious, so to speak, especially in the winter transfer window. But at the start of the season, I would say, you know what, I was optimistic to say, if we can break into the top half or the top 10, I would have been happy. If we'd have finished 10th, I would have been over the moon. But obviously after the first game of the season, I was fearing a long struggle, especially after the Newcastle home game. So, yeah.
Yeah.
because I suppose, especially, I'll be honest with you, I was fearing the worst. I wasn't happy with the Moyes appointment whatsoever, or reappointment, I should say. And I really feared the worst going into this season. Particularly, when you looked at those first 10 games, it was a horrible kind of start for us, fixture-wise. Very, very difficult. And I'll be honest with you, I honestly thought that when we came out of those 10 fixtures that we would be in the relegation zone and possibly rock bottom of the table. I was very pessimistic going into the season. It almost seemed like, the Newcastle game, which was our opener at home, to me almost felt like a 6-pointer, because I felt that us and them would both be kind of scrapping out towards the bottom end of the table all season. And I really, honestly, I even thought was possible that Moyes might be sacked by Christmas. I really was that pessimistic about our season. But obviously, by the time we'd come through those 10 games, I mean, my mindset had completely changed. I just did not expect us to be that good. Obviously, my fears after the first game, losing 2-0 at home to Newcastle, a horrible performance, I was thinking, yeah, this is exactly what I was expecting. This is what I thought we were going to be this season. Then, fast forward 9 games later, tough schedule, and we actually came out of that very well, given that we also lost away at Arsenal, albeit a much better performance. But the way we came through those opening 10 games gave me a lot of optimism.
Yeah.
I agree there. I do. Just to second that, I agree with what you're saying with Moyes and all that, but I think he needed to be given a chance a full season. Like, he's been here half a season before, left, then he comes in again. I think if we would have just gone, you know what, let's get rid of him and get someone else, that's just an insult, isn't it? Like, for him to a man. But just to second what you said about the Newcastle thing, I believe that was like a springboard, though. Like, with the Diangana sale, how hostile that was the first game. Like, and it was a terrible performance. If you go back and watch that game, we didn't do nothing. And I think that sort of spearheaded it going forward. Like, and we sort of treated them first sort of 6-7 games like it was 6-pointers. Like, do you know what I mean? The Wolves home game, the Leicester away game, even the Tottenham away game. They was all big games. Do you know what I mean? I think if we would have played lesser teams at the start and then got them 10 games down the road, then I think we would have been massively in trouble.
Yeah, definitely.
I think an important question on back of what both of you said is, I mean, I followed football from mid-80s, from an era when managers stayed for a decade, players stayed all their life. And how much time should we give a manager? I think we've got no patience anymore, which, I mean, when a manager gets sacked, there's a reason for it, that there's big issues, And a new manager comes in, and straight away fans expect to play Brazilian one-touch football up and down. It just can't happen like that, especially with the window restriction. You can only bring in players twice in a year, and on top of that, you can only spend how much money you've got. Perhaps the manager before has spent all the money, like Pellegrini. I am very patient like that. I would like to give a manager 2 years. Seriously, 2 seasons. There's only 4 windows in 2 seasons, and it takes time to get people out the door. People bring in, have a bonding with the owners. So I think we expect too much too quickly sometimes, I feel. But having said that, Pellegrini, I knew the time was up.
I love you, mate. You're one of my good friends, right? But we never left the bowling 5 years ago to be waiting around like for managers to come in and be sort of hit and miss.
That's not David's fault. That's not David's fault. No.
I agree. It's not his fault. But as fans, that's what we was told 5 years ago. Like, we was told we're going to go to the next level. We're going to get this. We're going to get that. Now, I'm not got nothing against David Moyes. I think he done a good job with what he's had. He needs help now, though. GSP needs to help him. Like, the owners need to help him massively. But when you come to West Ham's a big club, and we've got to start treating people. We've got to start acting like a big club. Like Leicester have become a big club all of a sudden. 5 years ago, before they won the Premier League, they wasn't a big club. They was a okay team. Bottom half team, fighting relegation 1 year. They go and win the league in one of the freak seasons, and now they're an established top 6, top 4 team. Like every season.
I see the problem at the moment, of course, is that the difference in the money you earn in the Premier League compared to the Championship is far, far wider than it's ever been. Like you spoke, Jazz, back in the 80s when we were, following West Ham back then. If you got relegated, it wasn't a disaster. It just wasn't. If you went from the first division to second division, it wasn't a disaster. The financial implications weren't massive. They are now. And that's why Premier League clubs have become trigger happy when it comes to their managers. Because the potential ramifications of being relegated can be huge, especially if you've, over-invested, shall we say, if you've, really invested in a squad, plowed a lot of money in, and now you're potentially looking at getting relegated. You're thinking, oh, this is, financially, this could really come back to haunt us if we go down. So, clubs, panic a little bit sometimes and do sack managers maybe quicker than they would have before. Like you said, Jazz, it used to be that managers were given a lot of time. You could have a manager take you down and allow him to bring you down and stick with him and give him a chance to get you back up. And you could do that then. It's much more difficult for clubs to do it now. But I think, for that to happen now, you have to be kind of a certain distance away from relegation so that the board never get panicky about it. So if you come in your first season, for example, and you're in, 12th or 14th, the board will probably stick with you, give you another season because, there's no need for them to panic because you're not looking like getting relegated. And that's what's happened with Moyes this season is that, we've been doing so well that there was never a question of him being sacked for any reason. But, it would have been very different, I think, if we'd have, gone into like January, February and we're really struggling. And we're looking like we might go down. I think then that's when you start to get the panic. So, getting time means you're going to have to do a certain level of job where you're not in any real danger at any point of getting relegated. That's the only way you're going to get time now to build a squad, I think. And that's the best thing for any club. A club like us, obviously. We want David to be able to build and build and build, have new windows, because if you're doing the Watford and you've got like this just merry-go-round of managers, you're never, ever going to have a settled team, and it's going to be very difficult to find any kind of consistency. So, time is fine to want and to look for, and it's the right thing to do for a manager if you can do it. But like I say, the financial implications mean that if you're flirting with relegation, the club are probably going to pull the trigger.
I think it depends on the situation. I felt David Moyes was taking over a club in shambles. The players, the fitness, the stamina, it was utter crap. Yeah. And then I remember we signed Bowen and we had Man City, Liverpool. People are ready to shoot David. Why don't you put Bowen in straight away? So I think some of the expectations are so. And even now, if we finish 7th or 8th next season, there's going to be people unhappy. It's just the way it is, There's no people got. Even when we draw, they were out there complaining, and it's just that kind of thing. And like people up and down every week, and every game's like James know every game was a must-win for the last 15 games. People just need to chill out a bit and just just wait, have a bit of patience, decide at the end of the season. All this jumping up and down every game. If we win, we're going to die. We got to win. Must win, must lose one, must win for the last 15 games. The same people on Twitter. It's a must win. It's really important. Oh no, the whole season depends on this now. I was like, you going on about the last 15 games. Just chill out, mate, We're doing all right, better than what we expected. Just trust the people. Judge end of the season. We're in Europe. And next season, we'll see what the board do. We need to just chill out a bit.
Jazz,
if you look at our record, you say we're a big club. We don't perform like a big club. It's been 1980 since we won anything,
Yeah, but we've got to start acting like a big club, though, Jazz. We've got to start acting like one.
On what basis are we suddenly going to become a big club overnight? Right, it's going to take time.
Right. We've got a 60,000-seater stadium, right? We're one of the well-recognised clubs throughout the world.
Yeah, with the season tickets, half of them are £300 a year, mate. That's not really a big club. If you look at the tickets,
I know, but I'm not. Bayern Munich have season tickets for £250 a year, but they're one of the biggest clubs in Europe.
Yeah, because they've got money coming in from merchandise and other things.
Well, that's a different story,
Jazz. Our fans refuse to go in the club shop. No, our fans
at the end of the day,
mate. At the end of the day, Moyes fans spend, and us it's different.
At the end of the day, Moyes needed West Ham as much as West Ham needed
I
Moyes.
think your expectations are too high, mate. I'm thinking way too high to go in and expect to. I don't agree with that.
Jazz, I'm not being funny, mate. I never left Upton Park 5 years ago to be fighting relegation. That's a fact. Like I never walked out of that ground 5 years ago and said, you know what, we're going to be fighting relegation every year in a 60,000 seat stadium. Otherwise, we might have just stayed up at the bowling ground.
Well, that's fine, but you got to understand the circumstances around it. It's the owners, isn't it? They chose the wrong manager
it is the
in
owners.
the past. But then you
100%.
can't give the new manager a hard time because of that. Oh, if you don't start winning in 5 games, I'm going to start shouting and jumping up and down. You can't act like that either, you know? It's just the way it is.
Yeah, but let's. I just want to say this, yeah. Moyes needed West Ham as much as West Ham needed Moyes. Let's not kid ourselves. He done nothing.
Listen, I know you don't like David Moyes. I know, James, you don't. Deep down, I know you don't. I used to talk to you at the beginning of the season. You had your doubts up until December. I know that. So I know deep down you don't like him, mate. But I know you probably can't.
Hold on.
I know you don't. No, I know people who don't like him. Now they kind of have to stay quiet a little bit. And
well, to be fair, Jazz, I don't think it's personal. Listen,
it's not.
I had very low. No, listen. I had very low expectations for Moyes at the start of the season. I think if you talk to a lot of West Ham fans, you'll hear the same thing.
90% of them. Yeah,
his reputation had taken a bit of a kicking. It had.
If you look at 2 years at Preston, 10 years at Everton, that's 12 years.
But listen,
two years out of 14.
I know, but Jazz, listen. You know how it is with football and fans, right? It's what have you done for me lately, right? So he hadn't done great at United. Disastrous at Sunderland. Was it Villarreal? He was with or someone in Spain. Really
Real
bad.
Sociedad.
Sunderland. Who's done a good job at Sunderland? And was Mourinho?
I know. I understand, Jazz. I understand, Jazz. Yeah. I understand. I
just think we need to be a little bit, take our head out of the clouds and just appreciate the way we're going.
Well, all I'm saying is
just wait a bit.
All I'm saying is it's understandable that a lot of fans were not thrilled with the appointment of Moyes, right? And had low expectations. Now, he's proven us wrong, thankfully. We're all delighted. But it's not, let's not do this thing, because, you're not speaking in constantly glowing terms about David Moyes. You must hate him or you just don't like the guy, so you're never going to give him credit. I don't think that's what's happening. I think there was low expectation, Jazz, at the start of the season. There really was. And he's proved us wrong. Fair enough.
Just to say this, no one can take anything away from Moyes, but let's not kid ourselves that his backroom staff are also in there with him. Like
selected by who?
You know what I mean? Well, whether they are selected by him or not, they still got to do the job.
He selected them, but look at our budget. If he had 100 million to spend, I'll be like you saying, come on, we've got to get top 4, but you've got to look at the budget. We're not a big club with a big budget. So that's the way you've got to be a bit more realistic and kind of be a bit reasonable about expectations, I think.
Let me ask you this then, Jazz. Let me ask you this. I just want to ask you this. So where do you see West Ham at the minute as in a club? Because I see us as a top 8 club.
Yeah, eighth.
Right. So we're a top 8 club. So technically, then, in the bestest league in the world, we have become a top 8 club. That is what I want to see week in, week out, year in, year out. That's how I want to.
Should be top 10 at a minimum, and certainly not involved in any relegation battle. But it still takes time. We've got no scouting system, as far as I know. Our training ground is a shambles. Okay, what he's going to get 80 million, we believe, from what Sean Whetstone was saying. Let's see if that's true. I mean, that's a lot of money for David to try and do something.
It's 75 million plus player sales.
Reportedly, that was Claret and Hugh.
And then it was actually up to 85 million.
That was Claret and Hugh, so I would take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah. They're basically board shills. So whatever the board want them to throw out, they'll throw it out. Yeah. Let's see how it pans out.
I'm enjoying this conversation on Moyes, but I think we also do need to. I do have some questions for you guys as well with regards to the season overall. Some of the moments. I want to know some of your guys' favorite moments of the season, your favorite games, favorite goals, things like that, as well as your least favorite moments. Like, what were the low points in your guys' opinion?
Well, I'll go. If it's all right to go first, I'll go first on this one. Well, I'll start off with the low points. There's been a lot of games this season where we set up so negative, so ultra negative against teams when I've never seen Mark Noble in my lifetime. Yeah, plays number 10 ever, and that I don't understand that one. We go and play Manchester United away. We set up with 8 defensive-minded players, considering they've got injuries.
James, you're acting like we went down. Be a bit positive, mate.
Hold on.
Christ.
Hold on. I'm getting to the negative points first,
I can't
Jazz.
believe you half the time.
He's talking about individual games.
Yeah,
I'm talking about individual
we could have been
games,
positive,
Jazz.
started off with some good news, but there you go.
Oh well, you always set up with you always set up with the bad news first, Jazz, to bring the good news later, right?
I think we got relegated, mate, the way we started.
Yeah, I know, but Jazz, I'm fed up of keep seeing this team struggling every year. I've done it.
Be happy then. We've had a good season. Be positive. Start off with the good news first.
I will know next season if we are the same.
Oh, here we go again.
It's true.
You sound like Dan at West Ham Fans TV.
It's not, mate. It's not.
Even Ryan's like, cheer up, mate. And he's like, yeah, but with Everton, he was up 1 down. And he wasn't. He was consistent with Everton. Top 8 every season.
At the end of the day, I know Jazz loves Moyes. Yeah,
you've got to be common sense. I mean, what do you want to see next season then? Depends on the budget.
Well, I want to see a top 10 finish. I want to see a striker at this club. I want to see a centre half. I want to see a left back. And I want to see a covering central midfielder.
Anything else?
That's what I want to see. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I want to see, Jazz.
Let's see what the budget is.
Right? Because at the end of the day, you pay your money. I pay my money. Tommy pays his money. We all follow the club. And this is what we deserve. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but it's a lot of other factors as well. We've got to look at the money.
Yeah,
but he's not going to bring in anyone just for the sake of it, like in the past. It's going to be carefully considered, and then we'll see what happens.
KDK is worried about the two of you.
Right.
No, listen. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong going on here, Katie. This is all about opinions. Listen, if we wanted nodding dogs who all agree with everything everyone else says, this would be a lot more boring. People have their opinions; they're entitled to them, and we can argue, and we'll still be fine at the end of the show. We'll all shake hands.
I just want to say this, Tommy. Right. I get to the stuff with Moyes. I think Moyes has done a great job. Right, he has done a great job. His backroom staff take a lot of credit. I think he's got a top class, backroom staff there. He's got experience all over, ex-managers, players, former players at the club. I think he's done well. I think he's done very, very well at the club. Against the big 6, he's folded in a few games. Liverpool at home, he folded. Man United away, he folded. He set up defensive-minded players against Brighton at home. Like, come on, let's get real. So there's been some things that he's done bad, but in the grand scheme of things, he's done a lot of things good, and he deserves credit for that. And next season, I hope to see progression. And that's it.
Yeah, well, look, I have to agree on a level there, James. And this is not me having a cut at Moyes, Jazz. You know, it's been a highly positive season.
You've seen progression, haven't you?
Of course. I'm only talking. All I'm talking about here are specific games, right? I'm taking a game or two out of the whole season, and just certain things that disappointed me that I hope I won't see going forward. Okay, and I agree with James on 2 specific games you mentioned. I thought the home games against Brighton, I mean, that was horrifically negative for a home game against Brighton, and he was questioned by it on the media. Even Gary Neville was on the commentary saying, you know, he set up like you're playing Real Madrid.
Yeah, that's terrible.
He did set up like he was afraid of Brighton, like there was some great team that he had to sit back and defend for our lives with. I thought that he got that game completely wrong, and it was very disappointing and annoying to me the way we set up, because that's a team that we should go out and be able to mix it with and go and try and beat. The same with the game at home to Liverpool. I thought he gave them far too much respect. He played against the badge rather than the 11 players that Liverpool had out. That was one of the worst Liverpool's 11 I've seen for a few years, because they had a spate of injuries, and there was nothing like the 11 that Klopp would put out if he had everyone fit. And I thought we really kind of just gave them far too much respect in that game, and just allowed them to play, you know, when we should have been kind of getting after them and getting at them. They lost the game before we played them. I can't remember who it was. And then the game after we played them, they lost at home to Burnley. They were in an absolutely horrific run of form, and we're kind of losing every game to.
I felt that was one of Liverpool's. I felt that was one of Liverpool's best performances.
Of course, it was.
They were, they were untouchable. I don't know why they were up for it. in that game, particularly because they played a game 2 days before then.
Because I think we allowed them to be that team that night.
Not in terms of closing us down and not giving us any space and that kind of thing. But there you go.
Yeah.
So Jazz, come on. Listen, this is not an anti-Moyes tirade.
No.
We're all delighted with the job he's done, but you can't say every game and everything about the season was perfect and was amazing. There must have been a couple of games
discussing for 25 minutes. I can't believe this.
Yeah, and we're getting it out the way.
It's just like there
will be lots and lots of positive things to talk about.
I just think we should be a bit more positive, a bit more happier.
But Jazz,
there you go.
We will be, Jazz, but you can't.
The reason I ask about the low points, and this is solely is because it wasn't a perfect season.
Every season have their ups and downs, Jazz. Even good seasons have their ups and downs, Jazz.
Exactly.
We're just,
unless you win every single game, there's obviously going to be some low points. That's why I was asking. I wasn't aiming for a.
No, I understand.
What did you hate? What did you hate about this season or anything? It's just what were the moments that you were disappointed by? Yes, it's a positive, or everything is positive. Obviously, it's
a season. It's a season review, Jazz. We have to take the rough and smooth.
So
yeah, cool.
So why don't you? All right, Jazz. Why don't you?
Jazz, you can
give us your high points. What were your high points of the season, Jazz?
I think my high points were looking at the Leicester game away. I didn't see that coming in any form. I mean, we did beat Wolves before, which again in previous seasons, Wolves have always had a number over us. And Leicester, as you can see, are one of the top clubs, and you're playing away. And as far as I know, they had everyone playing. Vardy was in full swing. And I just did not see that coming, mate. I think it was a Sunday, beaten 3-0. World-class finish by Fornells, if I remember, for one of the goals. Kufal was sort of immense in that game. That's when his name began to be noticed by us and see perhaps that was obviously the foundations of what was to come later on, really. So I think it was that game. And if you were a player and you put in that much performance, and that's early in the season, don't forget, like the first couple of games, we weren't at the races, and to turn it around that quick, that was amazing for me. And again, hands up to the coaching staff and things like that. I mean, and that probably was the foundation to have the belief, I think, to say we can play like this week in, week out. And despite what we're saying, I think we played on the front foot for 85% of the season. Superb one-touch football, goals galore, scored more than Chelsea. Great flowing attacking football, whereas some people obviously felt the results might come, but the quality of the football might not be there. So we answered everyone's questions, really. So that would be the one. And the other one was the Spurs 2-1 win at home, I think, which obviously we all look forward to. And it was against a very strong Spurs team. And always good. That was quite a good performance for me. We kind of were holding on at the end, all nail-biting with 5-6 minutes of injury. Had a time with my son with his head on the floor. He didn't even want to watch the game. Half the fans wanted to switch the channel, So it's good to get a win and a draw against Spurs. And I think the Leicester game will stand out for me, I think, as a great brave performance.
Did the double on them too, Jazz? And
Wolves. Double over them. Double over a lot of teams. Double over Villa. What a great team and season day.
Leeds.
Yeah.
All right, over to you, James. What was your high points of the season? What was your favorite moments?
Oh, I've got so many. I'm gonna get them all down on the list.
Crack them off.
Listen. At the end of the day, Wolves away, Wolves at home, Leicester away. Moyes had COVID. Alan Irvine was in charge. It was good performances, considering our manager had COVID. Then we played Tottenham. Great comeback there. Leeds away, what I think was a really good performance. Coming up to sort of Christmas, we had a little bit of a dip. Chelsea was hammering when really the scoreline didn't reflect the game. Brighton game infuriated me massively at home. We're talking about
the positives. We're talking about the positives now.
Jazz, if you want me to get to Moyes, mate, again,
we're talking about the positives. You started on talking about.
I'm just giving it a rating.
I don't want to talk about any negativity today. It's the end of the season. Europe, here we come. Well, you've had your half an hour to have a blast, everyone. Talk about the positives now, mate.
Right. Well, we've done that. Beginning part of 2021, we went on 4 games unbeaten run. Everton away, West Brom at home, Burnley at home, Palace away. Then we decided to go so negative against Liverpool, and then we put in a good performance against Villa away. The Tottenham game was a good one, but I also look at the Arsenal game when we blast them at the ground in 30 minutes, and then we decided to give it away. So in a whole, it's been really good. Like, it's been some good positive performance. The best performance for me is Aston Villa away. Lingard's debut, I thought the team was excellent. Palace away, I think we could have scored 7. We should have scored 7 if Antonio learnt how to hit the ball in the back of the net, not at the post or the bar or anything. There's been some good ones. Obviously, Wolves away was a good one. And I'm not being funny. I think even so much as the recent game, the West Brom game towards the end of the season, even though West Brom were down, they wanted to win that game, and they did want to win that game. And for us to go 1-0 down, considering we missed a penalty, we done well to come back, and we didn't fold under pressure. So,
and remember in West Brom's previous game, they had given Liverpool all they could handle. They were very unlucky to lose that to a bizarre, crazy Alisson goal. That was a really good comeback from us against West Brom. You shouldn't underestimate that win, and it was a vital win. Absolutely,
I think every game is hard, isn't it, in the Premiership? Every game. I remember Fulham turning Liverpool over, I think. So we've had all kinds of results, I think. Yeah.
Villa put 7 past Liverpool, didn't they?
There you go. Yeah, that was a funny one.
Every once in a while you'll get, you'll play a team that for whatever reason just doesn't turn up, and you get a facile win. But on the whole, you're right. You earn your points in the Premier League. But for me, obviously everyone's going to talk about that Lanzini equaliser away at Tottenham. I mean, that's going to go down in the West Ham legend, I think. I can't remember the last time I screamed so much after a West Ham goal. I mean, my cat's absolutely scattered.
I was going to say the same thing. We just had a kitten, and she just ran quick. What the hell's happening there?
My cat's came running, scattered in all directions.
My son came running downstairs. Yeah, crazy, man.
I was jumping around, screaming. It was just a brilliant moment. Those are the moments you live for as a fan, aren't they? When you do that. But for me, highlights of these in the same games that you guys mentioned. Obviously, some of our really great performances. The Wolves at home, Leicester away, where we spanked them and looked absolutely tremendous. Away at Villa was a brilliant performance. Away at Leeds was a superb performance, I thought, and 2-1 was really flattering to Leeds that night. If we'd have brought our shooting boots, we'd have scored 5 or 6 that night. And for me, again, I think, James, you mentioned it. When we went on that 4-game win streak, I just remember how much Twitter was buzzing. What West Ham saying, geez, we won 4 games on the bounce.
I know.
I mean, I was racking my brains thinking, when have we last won 4 in a row? Our form was sensational in that run. And that was a great feeling, I have to say. When you see
I just want to say something with someone in the comment with old James, Mr. Bong. He's saying about don't give Moyes any credit. Yeah, I do give Moyes credit, but also you got to give him criticism and all. Like, don't sit on the fence and go, yes, he's a hero, he's this, he's that.
You've done it 50-50 though. You've done it 50-50. You having a go at him for 50% of the time. That's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be 50% that you have a go at him for. It takes time to get your perfect team that you want. That's why, like Tommy said, rightly so, we didn't have our shooting boots on this season. We had to create. Luckily, we created so much. We managed to win sort of most of the games. But we were very careless.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I'm not going to disagree with you on that about shooting boots. But also, we have conceded a lot of goals with being 5 at the back. We was 5 at the back against Leicester. We was 5 at the back against.
That's what kickstarted. That was the foundation of what the season was built upon, having 5 at the back. It served us quite well then. He'd done well for Creswell, found a system that worked for him. So I think that worked well for us in a lot of the games.
I'm going to say 4-2-3. I'm going to say 4-2-3-1 was our system this year, mate. Villa away, Palace away, Leeds away.
It's 5 at the back for the majority of the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he tended to revert to 5 at the back against the kind of.
We was 4-5-1. We was 4-5-1 against Tottenham, and we was 3-0 down in 16 minutes. So, let's not.
No become manager. Bloody hell, man!
No system is perfect. No system is perfect. Yeah. But we did have some very good performances and some very good wins.
Tommy, just wanting to know, going back to that Lanzini goal, and because of VAR, some of them must have thought, we better wait now. Is it going to be allowed? Is it not? Because it looked like a reasonable push, didn't it? Just before the Lanzini sort of
Bonner took out Winks.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, Winks had got the touch from the headed clearance and was trying to close down and get the block on. And Ogbonna, he's so experienced. He's got
knocked him out.
he's got that Italian guile. Those Italian centre backs. They know all the tricks. So he's done a great job there. But he didn't do it. He didn't do it so blatantly that it was obvious to the referee. He just kind of gave him enough of a nudge.
Yeah.
Just to keep him away from Lanzini, and that was a hugely important nudge because I think without that, Winks gets the block on that.
Yeah.
But that was maybe the one goal where it was because of the circumstances of the goal being 3-0 down. I think we're still 3-0 down when the clock hit 82 minutes, and given that it was 93rd minute or whatever it was, and the nature of because it was Tottenham away and it was an equaliser and it was a screamer. Ver didn't come into it for me. I just went ballistic immediately. Lanzini and the players went ballistic immediately, and the commentators. I think the ref, maybe the ref got caught up in it as well and thought, nah, can't disallow that.
I think Mourinho's face was worth watching, wasn't it? I would have paid anything for that and really enjoyed that at the end, and perhaps marked the end for him. But
that was a moment.
Oh, calm down, Bing Bong. You know what I mean, Mr. Bong? You know what I mean? Mr. Bing Bong, he's always in the comments being a Moyes lover. Do you know what I mean? Go away with you, bruv. There we are.
Alrighty, so the next question I have for you all is, who is your Hammer of the Year?
Mine's
Kafal. Superman.
Yeah, mine's Kafal. First class.
Yeah, we've got complete agreement here. I think it has to be. I mean, look, Declan Rice was quality all season as usual. He's been brilliant for us, an absolute rock, and obviously Souček as well. To score 10 goals from DM. No, I know he has some free rein to attack in the box, and he's very dangerous on corners and gets some joy there. But I believe they were all from open play. Souček's 10 goals, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right, yeah.
So to score 10 goals from open play from DM is tremendous. So they've been 3 absolutely key players for us. But I think when you look at Sofal, he came in. Fredericks was first choice at that time, and because we were earlier in the season playing the wing-back system, and Fredericks actually was playing very well at wing-back in the early parts of the season before his injury. He was very unlucky to get injured when he did, and then Sofal came in to replace him. And I thought, as a wing-back, I thought Sofal did okay, but I wouldn't say he did any more than that. He did an okay job, and which is fair enough because it's not his natural position really, and it was a new club, new country. So fair enough. I thought he did quite well given the circumstances. But when we switched to a back 4 and he began to play in his natural position as an orthodox right back, I mean, he was sensational. Absolutely sensational.
Tommy, wasn't the Leicester game his debut, if I remember?
I think it was, Jazz.
I think it was. That's why people are like, wow, you just come off a plane, doesn't even got anywhere to live. Have you eaten, mate? And he's like,
exactly. But I mean, for me, the reason I give it to him, I think is because look, he was £5 million. He basically got chucked into the team immediately because Fredericks was injured in a position that isn't his position, wing back, and did really well there. And then when he went to right back, I mean, he never looked back. He has become one of the best right backs pretty much overnight in the Premier League. And for me, it's his level of consistency is insane. I mean, it's like he's Mr. Reliable. Like every game, Sofal is going to turn up. You know he's going to turn up, and not only that, but I think he's gotten better and better and better. He's gotten more confident once he's gotten settled in, and his performances have been so good. He's got that self-belief now, and he's added to his game as the season has gone on, and is actually adding assists now, and is putting some fantastic balls into the box.
Yeah, remember he hasn't even scored yet.
But I don't care. I don't care.
That's the bit.
Playing like that.
That's the bit. When he gets into the penalty area, gets a little bit nervous, and he doesn't quite deliver when he gets. Yeah, he doesn't know what to do.
He was really unlucky in what game was it, Jazz and James? He was really unlucky where he hit the post. He hit the foot of the post with a right-footed drive, and I think the ball came back to Bowen.
Bowen had to jump.
Yeah, Bowen had to jump over Pickford and couldn't knocked the rebound in, but he was really unlucky not to score there. But for me, Sofal, given all the circumstances, has just been sensational, and he's gotten better and better, and he's added assists to his game now. He's just an absolute rock.
I think he's, like you said, solid. Kind of describes him really well. And I think with Europa, those tough away games in some tough places in Europe, you're going to need players like that stand up, isn't it? He's not going to hide. He's going to be up there for the challenge. So he's really, and it's a pity we haven't watched him live. And he'll be a fan's favourite. I'm going to put his name on the back of my shirt when I go back. That's how much I really love him. He's a typical West Ham chicken run type of player that gives it 110%, and fans will love him for that, I think. Doesn't hide from anything. Yeah.
Did you see? First of all, I'm in complete agreement. I think Sufal wins it. And Sufal is my Hammer of the Year as well. Did you hear his comments though with regards to the Hammer of the Year award? He said that the trophy should be broken up into 30 pieces or however many players there are, because each and everyone deserves it.
Well, that's the diplomatic answer. Yeah. And obviously, look, I'll tell you what, to talk about, because Jazz, I'm gonna pass this over to you in a second, because I think we do have to talk about the great job that Moyes has done, and it is a great job, because what he's done in such a short space of time is genuinely astonishing. And some of the real issues that we had before, he sorted out. Like defensively, we were all over the place. We were far too easy to create chances against, good goal scoring chances. And he sorted that out. Our fitness levels never seemed to be right under Bilic or Pellegrini. We seem supremely fit now. Supremely fit. Even Antonio. You remember when Antonio used to be blowing out of his arse after an hour? Antonio has no problem doing 90 minutes under Moyes, and neither do any of the other players. And as well, just the team spirit that he's kind of got now, that he's instilled in the team. I mean, this is the happiest, most together West Ham team I can remember. It really is. They all play for each other. They're all very close. They work extremely hard for each other, and that's the kind of stuff that gets you results on the pitch. So what Moyes has done in such a short period of time, is genuinely just brilliant, and he has to be applauded for that. And I do applaud him for that. I mean, we're just so organized now, just so organized. Everybody knows their job. Everything. Largely, obviously, you're going to have some games where it doesn't come together, but that's every team has those issues. But overall, I think the way he's transformed the team, the way he's gotten rid of the major problems that we clearly had when he joined, has been really impressive.
Yeah, we mustn't forget, despite bringing in every player that's come through the door is good. I mean, Hugo, some people cry about Hugo. I don't know the story about him, but everyone else has been perfect.
I forgot about him, to be quite honest.
He's improved people. Don't forget people like Creswell. Everyone's been good through the door, and you can say what you want with Antonio. I have a go at him more than anyone, but he scored a fair amount of goals, I think, when you look at it. So we had no one else up there. I think, obviously, who's that guy who went to Holland? I forgot his name up front. He just didn't work. Yeah, so him and Anderson are the ones where David couldn't quite do anything with, but then the Porto manager's given up on Anderson as well. I don't know what's going on with him. Yeah. I've got a really soft spot for him. I hope perhaps there's one more chance. And perhaps we could have brought him back in January when we knew we're not going to bring many people in. Maybe he could have taken, some people, the thing doesn't hit home until they know, God, my career could be over now if I don't pull my socks up. So perhaps he's got one more sort of something in him for us. And then going back to the fitness of stamina, and you talking about the Leeds game, that's one of the games that makes me proud, because before the game away to Leeds, half the West Ham fans are on about Bielsa because they love him. Oh, they're the fittest team. They outrun any other team. I tell you what, in that game, Tommy, we outran them. We outran the fittest team in the league, and we could have easily won that game 4-5-1, mate. So that game makes me really proud and immense. And going back to sort of what we're saying about Kufal, it's a good team, isn't it? Like, I don't want the award, I want to share it. I mean, you would have got the same answer from the whole team. Look at Rice, he's so young, but he's always telling everyone to stay focused when we've scored a goal. Everyone's just together. You see all the celebrations at the end, and I think there's a lot of togetherness there, I think. And you can see Lingard, he's added the cherry on the cake. He's so happy to be there. so quickly settled in. I think it's a good dressing room, mate, you know, where people are coming in and settling in really quick, and hopefully that carries on. Because David's bringing in not just footballers, he's looking at their background, their characters, their personality, are they a good fit? And that's why he looks at each transfer carefully, make sure, you know, because in the past we've had players who haven't fitted in, been bad characters. So, yeah, it's really good. Obviously, there's room for improvement. Nothing's done that quick, but within the year and a half he's been at the club, he's surprised me, mate. And hopefully get more money and just keep doing it, keep adding, and we'll get better and better. Yeah, we'll get better and better. Yeah.
James, just to ask you, mate, what do you think have been like the keys to the way what Moyes has been able to do with the team this season?
One man, Declan Rice. No one mentions Declan Rice at all. Right? Everyone mentions Moyes, everyone mentions the player. Declan Rice is a world-class, box-to-box defensive midfield player. He's our player. He's our captain. And that man has been a captain this year, and he's proved the reason why we are going forward as a club. Because that man's a winner. He wants to win. He wants to do well. He wants to drive this club forward. Declan Rice does not stay at West Ham if we're fighting relegation. And that's what I want to see with West Ham. And that is the reason why we've done well this season. We've done well. We've done very well. But he's one of the main catalysts. He brings the players together. He galvanises the team. When we go 1-0 down, we don't drop our heads and get hammered. Like, we all stick together. And there's been many games this season where we've been 1-0 down, but we've still come back and won the game. So, yeah, Declan Rice for me, mate. And he's the jewel in the crown. And if we've got to build around that man. And if we do, then we become an established top 7 team every year. Not top 8.
Just one thing, Tommy. James, have you seen how much love Rice has got for David Moyes? After nearly every game, he praises how happy he's to be there, how good he is to work with the manager, the whole environment there. That is a big point of him not moving as well. That's a big point. No, listen, it's a big point.
Hold on a minute. They all are.
Yeah, but you can't just say, it's Rice is happy to be there largely
Declan Rice.
When Lingard joined, what did he say? He said, I'm here because of David. I know him. I know what he can do with me. You want to join West Ham if David wasn't there? There's 5-6 clubs other ones that wanted to sign him, you know? This is a club where people will hopefully want to join us.
Jazz,
now.
Come on now. Sheffield United and West Brom, Sheffield United, West Brom, and a few teams in foreign countries wanted to sign Jesse Lingard. Let's not get hyped here. Let's not get silly.
I'm just telling you the facts of what Lingard has said with his mouth. I'm not saying watch his interview. What does he say? Right. Why did he join West Ham? He tells you.
He joined West Ham because West Ham was the best option for him.
I wanted to come because of David Moyes. He said that clearly, mate. There's no argument with that.
Right. He wanted to come to West Ham because it was the best option. Why is he going to go and play for Sheffield United when they're fighting relegation? Why is he going to go and play for West Brom? Right, let's be honest, West Ham are in the top 7 at the time.
I think Villa were looking at him.
I think we might have been 4th when he joined.
Yeah.
I do believe you're correct on that.
Now, let's not get carried away. Jesse Lingard was nowhere to be seen before he arrived at West Ham. He played 4 games.
That's even a better signing by David, then, isn't it? That's even a better signing to have the.
I am not saying it isn't, but at the end of the day, Declan Rice, as a captain of this club, is the reason why this club is progressing fast.
Who's made him captain?
He's captain of the club, Jazz.
Yeah, the manager. The manager decides who the captain is. The manager leads the players. The manager trains them. The manager improves them. The manager sets the environment where good players can succeed and flourish. And you keep on just putting it under the carpet, mate.
No. So
whenever you say that he makes players better. Else. No, but just the way you come across, mate.
Okay, then. Okay, we'll get onto it right now then. Saeed Benrahma. Look at the way he's treated him this
your
season.
Bloody favourite son, mate. Yeah.
Right.
Benrahma. What about Benrahma?
Has he treated him well?
He every time he used to give him a start, he just didn't used to get involved in the game. So he'll slowly bring him in and then he'll improve. You know, he's not his player. Right. He didn't buy him.
Right.
How would you feel if the chairman put a £30 million player on but you never wanted him? He didn't want to sign Benrahma. He wanted to sign Eze, mate. He didn't want Benrahma.
Well, tough.
Tough. When you're a manager, in your contract is written, you'll have 100%. what players you want to bring in. That's written in your contract. You remember Kirbishley walking away
Right.
from West Ham,
Right.
mate. You should let the
Listen,
manager
right.
manage, mate. You know, but
I
Sullivan
can't believe what I'm
you say
hearing,
it's
right?
easy. No, you say it's easy to manage West Ham. If you had a chairman like Sullivan who can't help sticking his finger in all transfers, that makes your job twice as hard. It's easy having sort of looking at Leicester. Look at their owners, mate. What do you think Brandon told Spurs? Brandon told Spurs to get lost last week because
you can't say that at all, right? You can't say that at all. Jesse Lingard had played 4 games all season in 18 months.
Yeah,
right?
And that's
now let's not get carried away.
Against Villa, mate.
Let's get
against Villa.
Right. Let's get carried away. He goes and sells Haller, right? Why? He don't bring another striker in, right? He brings one player in. He goes and gets rid of Robert Snodgrass, right? Do you know what I mean? If you want to buy a player, why?
Let me stop you there.
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Stop you there.
Hold on.
He sold Haller because he's crap, and he didn't bring anyone in because we didn't have enough money to bring the right quality forward in.
No, he didn't want a striker.
We bring in 5-10 million crappy.
He didn't want a striker, Jazz.
He rather wait.
He didn't want a striker.
Well, he was right then, wasn't he, with Lingard? Most of the time, Lingard did it, didn't he?
And now I'm just going to put Jazz to his point now. When Ben Rama played at the start of January and the 4-game, the unbeaten run, he played in every game. So don't come at me and say he didn't do anything.
Well, don't say that Fornells ain't good enough, mate. Fornells, look at the performance.
Fornells is not good enough.
You know? It's up to David. He ain't going to pick a team because of you and me. He's going to pick the right team and look at the league table, and you'll come sitting there complaining, mate. I'll let David do whatever he wants to do.
Wait.
He could stick Ben Rama in the kitchen, mate, making sausages. I don't care. He's the manager, and I don't care what he does. As long as we get results, and we have, I don't mind, mate. I'm fine with it. You know?
Well, don't
can't say anything till we have a bad season, mate. Either.
No.
Simple as that.
The striker one is interesting.
I don't want to go back to any negativity or David after this season. It's my moment. And you can have your negativity next season, mate.
The striker one is an interesting one for me. The January striker situation. Hang on, Jazz. The striker situation is an interesting one for me because obviously we were all saying we've got to get a striker in, We've only got Antonio, got no cover. Now, Moyes there was money there apparently for Moyes to bring in a striker if he wanted one. But Moyes decided that he couldn't get a striker that he really wanted and didn't want to go down to his 3rd or 4th choice. And so he decided to kind of keep his powder dry, keep his money in his pocket and wait for the summer. But he brought in Lingard. But another way to look at it is, had he not brought Lingard in and had gotten a striker instead, would that striker have scored 9 goals and got 4 assists? You know, was Lingard essentially, I think, was just as good as bringing in a striker because he's, 9 goals and 4 assists from, I think his first game was early February 4th or 6th or something like that. Would any striker we brought in have got 9 goals and 4 assists? So I think it worked out in the end.
Say that, can you really? Like, because there was players there, but obviously
but I'm saying, James, had we gotten a striker instead of Lingard and he scored 9 goals and 4 assists from February first game away at Villa, we'd be saying, wow, that was a great signing. But
then if we go and buy or get a striker, we might be sitting in Champions League position.
Well, you'd have to have scored a fucking hatful of goals in the second half of the season, like this.
Well, we're only 3 points off a Champions League. Like, let's be honest here. There's games this season, i.e., Newcastle home and away, where we've given Newcastle 6 points. Brighton away, where we drew there, and to me, like, if Antonio doesn't play well, then we've got no cover. We've got no one there. Like, so if he would have went out and gone and got Olivier Giroud, for instance, and he would have scored 3 or 4 goals, then 3 or 4 goals might have won us a game or got us 4 points. Like, do you know what I'm saying? People, Jazz is quick enough to slag off Haller.
Why would he bring Giroud in? Those days are gone, James.
Hold on there. You can slag off Haller, but Haller scored a winner.
Haller's shit. Haller, I've seen. He was a woman, mate.
Haller scored at Sheffield United away.
Plays like a woman.
We're 1-0 win.
And he got a point against Palace. Haller's a load of tosh, mate. I want to look at him.
Do you know what I mean?
Fucking went missing, big
won us
frame
4
like that.
points.
He should be knocking centre backs out of the way, mate. He should play like a woman.
Yeah, to be fair, James, I think the Haller
backing bloody Haller up. What the hell?
The Haller sale. I think with the Haller sale, I think David Moyes and probably I suspect David Sullivan agreed with him that he wasn't going to be here long term, and the offer from Ajax was about as good as it was ever going to get. To be able to get was it 25 million out of Ajax for him. I think they felt like that was too much money to turn down, that the longer he stayed, the less they were likely to get for him. And I think they decided, look, that offer is on the table. We're just going to kind of have to take it.
Why are we discussing Haller, man? Waste of time. Fuck's sake, man. Seriously, Tommy, proper depression with James, I'm telling you. I can't believe he's nitpicking at every stupid bloody thing. Just be a bit more positive, mate. Just I can't believe this.
Hold on a minute.
Fuck's sake, what are you talking about Haller for?
I'm allowed to have an
Listen
opinion.
to what Tommy's saying. Why don't you celebrate?
No, I'm allowed to have an opinion, Jazz. Because listen, I'm not going to keep blowing smoke. I'm not going to blow smoke up people's asses.
It's all of why not? Look at the season. Why not smoke? Why not? Why not? Why not?
What do you mean, why not?
Look, if I told you at the beginning of the season we're going to miss Champions League by 3 points, you would have thought I've gone mad, mate. Celebrate the season we've had. Look at the shit we had under Pellegrini and how quickly we're going in the right direction. But you keep nitpicking. You keep nitpicking at games where they haven't picked up points. You keep talking about those games. Keep fucking bringing Haller up and just being negative throughout the show, mate.
No, don't come at me with saying about negativity. I've seen fucking years of it.
So why are you talking about
years of negativity at this club
now? Then just be positive. Then.
Respect. Even if you don't like my opinion, respect it. I've seen us go to fucking Oxford away. I've seen us go to Oxford away and get hammered by a League One team.
Now we're talking about this season. I don't want to talk about any other season.
So if
this season, then it's a good season.
All I'm saying is, in the winter transfer window, we got rid of Robert Snodgrass and we didn't bring it to replace him.
What's wrong with getting rid of Robert Snodgrass? What did he do at West Brom? What's wrong with getting rid of Snodgrass? What's wrong with Haller? Haller had enough chances. He just didn't want to play.
Right, we got rid of Robert Snodgrass and we got rid of Sebastian Haller.
All right, what's your feelings of Snodgrass? Did you want to keep him?
I would have kept Snodgrass.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, my days. All right,
you tell me the reason, right, that we had no covering midfielders when Rice was out. That we're shoehorning
Snoddy's
people like
as a centre mid, is he? Are you having a laugh? Snoddy's not centre mid defensive. He's towards the end of his career now. He's not good enough.
So what? We've got people like Yarmolenko at the club, right? Give me Snodgrass all day long.
You've got to look at when clubs are ready to buy someone. West Brom came in for him, so you agree. We've been trying to sell Yarmolenko for a good while, but no one's coming in because his contract's slightly different to Snoddy's and a lot more money.
Yeah, look, there's no question squad-wise we do need some cover in certain positions, and certainly
we do.
Defensive midfielder is one of them. We're looking at Alex Kral. Is it Alex Kral? Locomotive Moscow, another Czech Republic player. Hopefully we can make that happen. He looks a really good player.
He's also liking a bunch of.
I thought Lanzini actually did a really good job in there when he came in. He doesn't feel like a natural fit to throw Lanzini in there.
He's injury prone, isn't he, Tommy? A bit injury prone. That's my worry.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've got some players. Unfortunately, that you just worry about every time they come on the pitch, and every time Antonio breaks into a full steam, run chasing after a ball. In your mind, you're just thinking, please don't start. Please don't have your hamstring go. Please don't. So. Yeah, I think we've definitely got to look at obviously strengthening, but I think Moyes will do that now, obviously, because we're going to have some extra games, hopefully more than 6.
I think, like you said, the window will be bigger, isn't it? By the time next season, the only worry for me is Tommy, with the international tournament coming up. Apparently, obviously, a lot of the times no one moves before the tournament ends.
Yeah,
so it might get a bit of a rush from everyone, isn't it? As soon as the tournament ends and then starts.
Well, obviously it's difficult to talk to players themselves. But hopefully if there are players in the tournament that we like, we can at least be talking to their representatives. It's difficult. Whoever their agents are. But hopefully got some echo there, did I? Hopefully we'll be talking to the representatives. So we'll at least have move things along somewhat by the time these players are finished their tournaments. A lot of them, of course, get knocked out earlier in the tournament, group stages or second round quarterfinals.
Tommy, would you be worried if Rice had a really good tournament alongside some of our international players? That might influence a big club to come in for him because he looks like he's going to stay, saying all the right things, but because it's all in him, he could easily become one of the top players in the tournament, and then that'll bring him to the forefront of everyone, isn't it? Even more.
Yeah, obviously, look, it's one of the worries. We have I think probably himself and Souček are the two players, going into this tournament that we could be in real danger of losing.
Yeah.
And we've seen it before, Jazz, and obviously I know you, James, will have seen it plenty of times where a player goes to a tournament, plays an absolute blinder at international level in a major tournament, and suddenly all eyes are on them, and certain clubs are looking at him going, "Oh, hello."
Tommy, do you remember signing Barrera from Mexico on the back of the? Oh my God, that was like
even more. Remember, even Florin Radichoiu, you remember, had a blinding tournament, a blinding World Cup for Romania. And look, the absolute bee's knees, and then we signed Radichoiu on the back of that. So, obviously, it could be a double-edged knife, James, couldn't it? We all obviously want Rice to have a brilliant tournament, but if he does, it could be making a sweat, mate, couldn't it?
I fear for Man City, mate. That's the one I worry about. If Fernandinho retires, which it looks like he might do, they're going to go
No, James, he said he's staying one more season. He's staying one more season.
Well,
apparently,
whether or not he stays or not. But I think Man City's the team for Rice, mate. I don't think he'll go to Chelsea. I don't see Tuchel doing it. Guardiola likes him. I don't think he goes Man United. I don't think he fits Liverpool. So let's be honest. You've got a 22-year-old player. You can get easy 10 years out of him. And if Man City have got the money to go and drop 80, 90 million to West Ham and GSB, and they'll be tempted, I think. I do fear it, though, mate. I'm not going to lie. I won't lie to you. I just hope that in his heart of... I hope in his heart of hearts that he goes, I want to see this out with West Ham for a couple of years and see where it goes.
I suspect, actually, we might be in more danger of losing Souček. I
don't know about you, lads, but I saw Souček get fanned out a little bit when Rice wasn't there. I don't know about yous. I know we all have little bits of opinion here, but when Rice wasn't there, Souček wasn't the same player. Like, he just wasn't the same player at all.
I agree, but let me tell you why I think that happened, James. When Rice is there, obviously, like, Rice is an absolute rock at DM. When he's there, Souček has the freedom to be that box-to-box player who can actually read into the opponent's penalty box and get in the end of crosses. But once Rice was gone and Lanzini's standing beside him, the whole dynamic changes completely. Now Lanzini is the player that's got that license to get forward, get involved high up the pitch. And Souček basically is the one who now has to kind of sit and be that proper defensive midfielder, help out the back. And he gets stretched at times because Lanzini's off over there. And I don't doubt for a second that Souček isn't as good at Rice as a proper sitting DM. Rice is the king of that in our club. So I don't think Souček can do that as well as Rice does. He still put in a massive shift for you, but he can't put out fires in the same way that Rice puts out fires. So I think that was the problem for Souček when Rice was gone, that he had to do the Rice job, and nobody can do the Rice job at our club like Declan Rice does it. But I think once Rice was back and Souček was free then to go and do his thing and play his game, which is his more natural game, then obviously we saw his form return and he had a very strong finish to the season. So I don't think it's a slight on Souček in any way. He's a quality player. And I think it just goes to show, if anything, that partnership between Souček and Rice.
I think if Souček's injured, I think Rice will miss him as well. So you got to look at both ways.
I think it's just a dynamic partnership. I think that
But let's be honest here, though. If two bids come in for Rice, a bid come in for Rice and a bid come in for Souček, correct me if I'm wrong, but would you rather see Souček go than Rice?
None of
because
them
to me, I think Rice is the key.
It's hard to find 10 goals for midfield, like Tommy said, as a centre mid. That's worth a lot of money. I mean, we remember players like Gus Poe, who was a slightly more attacking player in the past, but it's hard to get those players, So
it is. It would be horrible to lose either of them. But I mean, look, I don't want to sit on the fence, James. If you're going to hold my feet to the fire, if I had to choose one to lose, I would lose Souček. I just do not want to lose Rice.
Yeah.
more than any other player. He is absolutely key to everything we do right now. And that would be my answer, but obviously it would still be horrible to lose Souček right now. But as Jazz says, trying to replace his performances, trying to replace 10 goals from open play from midfield is not easy. So I actually think we're in more danger of losing Souček in the summer. The reason I think we'll hold on to Rice, I think there are only a certain amount of clubs that can actually afford Rice. And I think of the clubs who can, I suspect they will have other priorities. I don't think they'll be willing to spend 100 million plus on a defensive midfielder because I don't think any of them need one that badly. So I think they'll probably say, it's a bit rich for us and we have priorities elsewhere. So I think that's maybe the reason we'll hold on to him. And thankfully for us, Declan is very happy at the club and is not agitating for a move. And I think he'll be perfectly content to start next season as West Ham captain playing Europa League for us.
Can you both see that a Harry Kane situation occurring here with Rice to a point? Like he's at the club.
Not yet.
He's happy.
No,
not yet. Yeah.
2 now, it's all right.
I think he's got so much more time on his side than Kane.
Yeah.
I think Kane is looking at his next birthday and thinking
28, isn't he?
28, 29, something like that. And he's probably, he sees his career clock ticking and he wants to win trophies. So I think Kane now is finally said, right, this club's going nowhere. I have to get out now while my stock is still where it is, because he's in that peak period where the next couple of seasons, Harry Kane is going to start being on the decline because of age. So he knows he has to go now. Declan Rice can comfortably stay at West Ham for 2 more years. He'll still only be 24. Yeah. He can comfortably stay at West Ham for 2 more years, and his value, if anything, will only be going up and up. And he'll still have plenty of time on his hands.
I agree.
So,
I really do.
Kind of one of the last questions I have for you guys, and this is going to someone had asked in the comments earlier. I'm going to kind of reword it. They said, what are your expectations for next season? But I'm going to change it into what are the hopes, just because you can expect anything, but doesn't mean it's going to happen. What do you guys hope happens next season?
A cup run of some sort, like straight away. I think Mark Noble's final season, I think we need to see a cup run now. Like, we need to see some sort of cup run where, like, look at Leicester, for instance. I know Leicester are a good team. They've got good players and all that, but they've just won the FA Cup. What we would do for an FA Cup win, like, we'd do anything for that. Do you know what I mean? So I do believe a cup run of some sort. You either Europa, League Cup, FA Cup. I think if you said to every West Ham fan right now, you're going to finish 16th, but you're going to win the League Cup, everyone will be over the moon with that. They want to see silverware at the club. So, yeah, cup run for me.
Okay. Jazz?
European place again. Yeah, European place again. And I think it's so important that you're in Europe year in, year out. You make your name. That's how players recognise who you are. The fans around the world know who you are. Your stock grows. Not much money in Europa, I know, but I'm surely the sponsors recognise if you're in there every year in, year out. Europe for me, and I'm going back to James' question, with West Ham, I don't know what you got. I think we always get unlucky in the draw. We always get big teams in the draw. So, like FA Cup third round, Man City away, and I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do now? So some of the clubs like Spurs, like they got to the final. If you look at their fixtures in what was a League Cup, I don't think they played anyone. All right, they beat Chelsea on penalties, but apart from that, they were all third division teams, second division. So, yeah, cup runs are good. I love cup ever since a kid. It just sometimes I feel that we just get unlucky with the draws. We always get the big clubs early on, really, and that kind of makes it harder, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely understand both perspectives. We are crying out for a cup, for some silverware. As James says, 1980 is a long time ago.
Yeah.
For us to lift a domestic cup, particularly the FA Cup, of course, 2006 still kind of grates on me. We were within a hair's breadth of it in 2006. And I would absolutely love us, especially, Jazz, when you think as well, next season's Mark Noble's final season at the club. Can you imagine him walking up the 39 steps in his final game for the club, basically?
I think we do.
That would be fab.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I would love to see that. Sorry, James. Sorry, James. I'll let you back in. Just let me finish my point, please. But I do also see your perspective on this, Jazz, because if we could have consistent qualification for European competition, I think that could be a kind of a snowballing effect where we can actually build a squad from there. We can attract the kind of players that would then allow us in the short term, maybe a couple of seasons down the line, where we are actually able to better compete for cups. So that could come, first, and then we start winning cups. But yeah, like I say, James,
Tommy, I gave the same answer you. Someone told me, what would you want in a season? FA Cup or Champions League place? I said Champions League place, with the thinking that if you're good enough to finish fourth, the money that you'll get, the players that will join you, you'll get the cups, mate. They'll come. So as long as you cement your good league position first, I think the cup success hopefully should follow after that. Yeah,
that can happen, absolutely. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I agree. To a point, like we could have got Champions League, but it doesn't mean to say that our owners would have gave him the necessary funds to be in the Champions League. You know what I mean? So I agree with that point. Like I think obviously if you have better owners, then we're going to go better places. But I believe that next season with Mark Noble's final season, you're going to see a similar thing to the bowling season, where they're all going to give it 100% for him. Like I can see that happening every game, whatever game it is. And if he's in the game, they're going to be going full throttle. We need to be progressing in cup competitions though. We keep getting knocked out. Like we go to places and we put in a bad performance. Like Everton away this year in the League Cup. Come on, £50,000, and our owners are moaning about it. So let's get real about Champions League and things like that. So yeah, we need to make sure that we sort of progress in cup competitions, because when you win a cup, you enter the Europa League automatically. So yeah, that's what it is.
Quick question for you guys before we wrap it up, because I've been thinking about this kind of the last couple of days. Obviously, we're all talking about the comings and goings, certain players that we're saying believe in, the likes of Yarmolenko, potentially Lanzini, other kind of what we call fringe players perhaps leaving. But given that, we're going to have our 38 Premier League games, we're going to have at least 6 Europa League games, then you've got League Cup and FA Cup to think about. Is there an argument to be made to actually not sell players and to just add to the squad? Because we're not likely, under any circumstances, to sign a whole glut of players. So if we release, 5 players, the amount of players we'd need to bring in to have enough squad members, should we be looking at saying, let's keep Yarmolenko? Okay, he'll be of limited use, but if we draw, a League One team in the Carabao Cup or in the FA Cup, he's good for that. He's a player we can play in that. Should we keep Anderson for the same reason? Should we keep Winston Reid around just in case we need these numbers? Is there an argument to be made? Let's actually not sell anyone and let's add 4. Let's concentrate on adding 4 real quality players to the squad we already have to boost our first 11, and then use the rest as squad players because we're going to need them.
Well, let me ask you this, Tommy. I just want to put this question back to you. How many players, quickly, do you think West Ham need? Realistically?
Well, I think we should be looking. Any players we sign, I believe we should be going for quality over quantity. Okay, we made the mistake after the 15-16 season of signing quantity over quality because we had Europa League coming up. And I think that proved to be a big mistake. All them players are all long gone. And we got knocked out by Astra Giurgiu after we struggled past Domzale. So I think quantity over quality. I think if we were to get a really, really good number 9, if we get someone like Kralin, who's going to be really, really good, not just defensive midfield cover, but can actually be used in rotation with someone like Soucek when he needs a rest. We get in. I still think we need a left back, as good a season as Cresswell has had, and I think we need a really good goalkeeper. Obviously, we're strongly linked with Johnston. So I'd say if we were to get 4 really good players that can actually come into the first team and make the first 11 better, and then keep the other players for cover and for rotation for when we need him, because we hopefully will have a lot of games, then I think that would be good enough. Spend the money on quality, not quantity, and keep the players that we have around because we'll need them. And who knows? Anderson might come back and do well. Lanzini looked like, he was doing well when he came back in. Yarmolenko, like I say, can be useful in certain circumstances. Antonio coming off the bench obviously can be a huge impact sub. And even though the likes of Yarmolenko and Antonio might be a bit more injury prone, that would be far less of a problem if they're coming on as subs or if they're playing less games.
I agree with that. I do. But I also look at it that Anderson's got no sell-on value, so we're going to have to keep him. Yarmolenko, I just don't think he's good enough, mate, if I'm honest. And he's on over 100k a week.
Good enough for what? Good enough for League One team in the Cup? I think he's fine for that. He played really well, actually, in the Carabao Cup in the early rounds. Granted, the opposition wasn't great. But, he did really well in that. I think he can be useful for cover only.
Yeah, but it's his wages, though, Tommy, isn't it? Like, let's be honest, he's on over 120k a week.
That's the kicker, yeah.
Yeah, and let's be honest, when you're signing players and they're turning up and they're seeing Yarmolenko sitting on the bench earning 120k, 100k a week, whatever it is, it ain't a good look. Just quickly, I think we need more than 4. Like, I think we need a goalkeeper. I think we need a centre half. That's definite. Need a left back. Need a central midfielder. And I believe we need 2 strikers at least. Like, because if Antonio gets injured for any reason and he goes down, he's out for months. He's not out for weeks.
And he will.
But he's injured now.
He will.
He's injured now. He came off injured, didn't he? Yeah.
So let's be honest here.
But you see, you take my point, James, that Antonio would not be our first choice striker next season for me. I think we replaced him, but I think his injury issues would be far less of an issue if he's a backup, if he's coming off the bench or he's playing in cup games, or his injuries should be okay, hopefully then. But do you think Odebeko should still be around as another backup striker next season?
He needs to be going out. He needs to go out on loan, mate. Honestly, he needs to go out to a Championship team or a League One team and go and bang in 30 goals in League One, and then you will know if it's good enough for Jermaine Defoe back in the day, Harry Kane, Jesse Lingard, all these so-called top class players. It's good enough for Odebeko. I think if you put him in the team now, you're just going to cripple his confidence. When he doesn't do a good game, people are going to say, well, he's not ready. And it proved it at Manchester United away in the FA Cup. Now, I know you're playing Man United, I get it, but he was out of his depth. So I believe he should go out on loan. And the best way of summing this up is if you go and look at Newcastle's team, they've got 5 or 6 strikers at the club. I'm not saying they're all good strikers, mine, but we've got one, and he's like a shoehorn striker. We should be having at least 2 strikers at this club, and Seema would be one of them, and the other one would be Tony for me. I think if we can get either one of them, if not both, then I would say we're rolling like big time. I think Lanzini's kept his place. I think Lanzini can do a job for us. He proved it against Burnley away. I think he done well in that position, and I think he can.
You can't prove it in one game. I don't trust Lanzini because of his injuries.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if someone said to me right now, you got Yarmolenko, Anderson, or Lanzini, you got to pick one to keep. I know who I'm picking. Lanzini.
I'll pick the one who can make the best team.
Jazz, what do you think should be the approach this summer then?
Before I start, an important point, Tommy, is what Sullivan's approach is. If you look at last season, is 1 in, 1 out. He works out. So you need to get someone out, then you bring one in. So he wanted players early in the door like Eze and Sullivan. We didn't get anyone, especially Lingard, until Anderson had gone. We were struggling to get people through the door. It's always been our issue. Can we get any reasonable money for anyone? So I think we should get the players that we're on the manager's list and within the budget everyone's happy with, and get them in with all aggression. I don't know who's going to organise the transfers. Is a director? We don't have a director of football. Sullivan's like 85, 80-year-old. I don't know how we get these transfers done. That's why it takes so long to get them over the line. But I think I agree with James, we need about 5, 6 and 2 strikers, I think. And then Antonio will perhaps provide cover for the 3 that normally play behind the front one in 4-2-3-1 system, I think. But we need to... I think it's going to be the guy from Slavia Prague, because we've already got a relationship with them in terms of repayment plans, and they're happy to do business with us.
Seema.
Yeah, I think he's likely to come in.
He's a great player, mate.
Let me put this to you. Would this make you happy? Let's say we bring in a proper number 9 frontline striker, whoever you're happy with. Let's say Sima, even though to me he's a winger, not a number 9. I'd rather see a proper number 9 come in.
I've never seen him. I need to watch a bit
let's
more
say,
of him. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's say we bring in Ivan Toney. Right. Let's say Brentford lose the playoff final. We bring in Ivan Toney. He's our first choice, number 9. We bring in Giroud. He's on a free. So we have Ivan Toney as our first choice. We have Giroud and Antonio there on the bench for backup. And we send Odubako out to the Championship on loan. I'd consider that to be a nice bit of business. What do you think?
I think when it comes to Toney, yeah, he's a good player, but is he good enough to start straight away in the Premier League? That is the $1 million question. Now, if I would say this: if you said to me, Tammy Abraham, start, then I would go, you know what? I'll agree with you 100%. Like, he could start. He's good enough. He's been in the league. Don't get me wrong. Ivan Toney, I like him, mate. I really do. I think he's an absolute replica of Antonio. I think he's quality. But
I heard he was quite wasteful, James, on the weekend game. I heard he was quite wasteful. Some people.
Yeah, but it's what he does off the ball. It's what he does off the ball.
I love his heart. Yeah, his big heart. Yeah, crashes into defenders. Yeah,
he scored 31 goals in the Championship this year. That's got to be recognised for something. I know he scored a few penalties.
Hats off to Brentford scouts. Hats off to their scouting team.
They're unbelievable.
This old Mopey, this old Watkin, amazing.
I spoke to one of my friends is a Brentford fan, and their scouting system is absolutely first class. Yeah. They've got a percentage of what they do. Like, they got rid of Ollie Watkins last season to Villa. They went and got Ivan Toney. They've already got a replacement lined up for Toney already.
Mopey the year before, James. This goes back 3 years. Amazing.
Yeah. Even Ben Rahman, for instance, they signed him for $2 million, got rid of him for 25, and like, they sign well. And if someone said to me right now, go and make a signing, James, anyone you like, I'll go and sign their recruitment officer.
I'll put a spy in there.
I think their recruitment officer's top drawer, mate. Some of their players.
You have to hand it to Leicester as well. I mean,
the
way they do business is sensational. I mean, if we were able to do business like they, I mean, you look at the end of the day. Let's not forget, Leicester are an average-sized Midlands team. That's all they are. They don't have a massive fan base. They don't have a big history.
They're smaller than Derby, Nottingham Forest.
They have excellent owners, and they have a superb scouting system. And that goes a long way. If you get the managerial position right, then you're elected. I mean, you look at the like you were saying, James, the way Brentford, like, buy low, sell high. You know, Leicester have been doing that for the last 7 years.
Yeah, let's not forget that. Yeah.
And they're bearing the fruits of that, and they're such a well-run club, and I'm envious of them.
But do you find, though, Tommy, and I don't know about all the rest of the lads here, that with Leicester, they will go and sell a player like Harry Maguire. They don't get sentimental with players.
No.
Like, when a bid comes in of 80 million or something, or 50 million, they go, right. There was Brentford. There was Leicester fans saying, 50 million for Ben Chilwell. We've already got a replacement lined up in Luke Thomas or another Castagna from Atlanta, right? So, like, to us, like, our crown jewel is Declan Rice. But if someone said to you right now, like, someone's going to come in and give you 110, 120 million for him, it's like that. People go, with 120 million, we can be like Leicester. We could reform and just buy a completely new team.
Oh,
that would be fine if we actually had a scouting. That would be fine if we had a scouting system.
The
problem we've had is that whenever we have actually sold players for big money, we haven't made use of that money. So that's the danger. Now, perhaps that would be different under Moyes. Maybe he has his own system in place where he's able to identify players. So far, you have to say, he's done very well in that regard. So losing Rice would be palatable if we had the trust, in our club to bring in able replacements. You look at Leicester, where they lost Harry Maguire for 80 million. They brought in Sayuncu. Now they've brought in Fofana. They've got two tremendous centre backs again. Like I said, they sold Chilwell for huge money, bring in Thomas. And then they've brought in defensive midfield. They brought in the defensive midfield. They've got, like, Ndidi now and Tielemans. I mean, their recruiting is sensational. If our recruiting was like that, I wouldn't care who we sold.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you
I
ever
agree.
think about the Brighton guy, like the one James was saying? He's trying to kick out, like snap our players in half. The
Sasuma.
midfield-
Is
Yeah.
it Sasuma or
No,
Basuma?
no.
Excuse me,
Basuma.
Basuma.
Yeah.
I think he's top class, mate.
He's a bit of
He's
a
quality.
You wouldn't mind, yeah, wouldn't mind a player like that. Like, he gets stuck in, doesn't he? So
Yeah.
he'll be on the move, won't he? Shortly, perhaps.
Yeah.
How-
I'll tell you what.
but-
Sorry, James.
Go on, mate. How much do you think will be acceptable this year from the board? That's what I want to put to everyone.
Like net spend.
Yeah. How much would you be satisfied with the board going to Moyes? There you go. There's a budget here of X amount.
I think we have to be reasonable. Look, we all know it's not going to be a huge amount of money. I think probably the minimum for me to say, okay, we can do something with that. I think if they were to say, look, here's 60 million plus what you can generate in player sales. I think that would be enough. All right, it's not massive money, but I think it would be enough for Moyes to work with. And I'd say, okay, we can do something with that. But anything less than that, I think even Moyes is going to be struggling to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. And I think Moyes is one of those kind of managers, or he's, at least with us so far, he's been, unless it's just been complete luck, he's been able to find some gems in the rough, like Soufal for $5 million.
But yeah, they're talking about Krell could only cost maybe 14 or 15 million euros. That would be great business.
Well, Dawson was 2 million, not bad, eh?
Yeah, he's done well there. Yes, Zofel was 5. So the players are out there. So I don't actually get caught up in the money. Like, I don't need to see us go and spending 40 million on a player. I really don't. It's about the recruitment. It's about getting the right player. I don't care if he was 40 or 4. As long as he's the right player and does the job. It's about identifying the players for me. And really, the money is kind of, secondary.
But do you find though that also you've got, I know you say about the money, but strikers cost the most money, and when they're good strikers, you've got to pay the money. So it's catch-22, isn't it? Like we do need a striker, if not 2. Like we need a Tony or an Abraham or the geezer from Sparta Prague, Seema. Like we need to pay the money for. If someone said to me right now, you're going to get 60, 70 million, but you're going to go and buy 2 strikers with that and get a couple of loans in, then I would be pretty satisfied with that. Do you know what I mean? Because I think we need, because we can't rely on Antonio. That's the problem. Antonio can't do a full season, so we need a striker.
I wouldn't splash on both strikers because we only play one up top. I would splash on one number 9, and then I'd be happy to splash on one number 9. Get the guy in we need, because it's such a vital position for us next season. If we had a proper number 9 who's a natural finisher, you think of some of the opportunities that Antonio fluffed, a striker that will finish those. And that could have really, we would have made Champions League if we'd have had a number 9 like that this season. So I'd like to see a splash on one, and then bring in Giroud. He's on a free transfer. He's still a really good player.
There is one person we've been linked with. Mr. Anatovic.
Someone asked earlier in the show if we'd take him back. We'll get to that one in a second. But Tommy, to your point with Giroud, I've had Twitter open, and during this show, it's been announced, or it's being rumored now, that Giroud has a 2-year contract in agreement with AC Milan.
Well, whatever. I was just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Making an example. Whoever it is, I think as long as we get someone in who'll be adequate cover, I don't think we should. I think it might be a bit of a waste if we splash on 2 number 9s, because we won't use both. One will be on the bench and it'll probably be on big money as well. I'd rather see that money invested in other areas of need.
So then to pivot, as James had said and someone asked earlier, Arnautovic, yes or no? And I would say, let's say, he would obviously not be the target man. He would not be the number 1. He'd be more cover.
No, I disagree. I want him in. I think he'll be straight in the team. He's not like that. He's done really well for us. So he's better than Antonio up front. Okay, he's 32, but if he's coming on the free transfer and he's not too stupid about the salary, get him in any day, mate, and he'll be number 1. He's not one of those who's going to sit on the bench, but that means that he'll definitely try to get in there, because he's got a big head, as we know. But yeah, I'll be more than happy to get him in. He's a class player, no matter what we say about him. And yeah, I'll get him in, no problem. He knows the manager, he's been in before. Yeah.
James?
Not for me, mate. I'm afraid what he done was snaky, and he turned his back on us when we needed him. And let's all go back to when he did leave. We played Wimbledon away. He's nowhere to be seen. He comes out and says, "Oh, he's staying." Then the next couple of weeks, he's going. So yeah, I think we should be aiming younger, fresher. There's a man over in Slavia Prague that I'd go over to the airport and pick him up in Sema. I know he's a winger, but Thierry Henry was a winger once upon a time, and so was Antonio once upon a time. The geezers, yeah.
I wouldn't buy him. I wouldn't buy Arnie just on his own. Then I'll be well disappointed. I'd want someone young with him so he can learn from Arnie. I mean, Noble was on the media last week saying how awesome the guy was in training and around the camp and everything before he lost his marbles. But yeah, if he was the only striker that came in, I wouldn't be happy. Yeah.
Do you think we'd be getting the same Arnie that left?
No, not for me.
The reason I said yes was you bring him in on a free, but you do still get your main young one, and then you can.
That's one thing. He's in this cover.
Yeah. I wouldn't. If he's the only one that's going to come in as a forward, and I would not be happy with that. But as a free, and hopefully helping the others.
I don't want him back because of the way he behaved. Number one. It's still, I still have a bitter taste in my mouth about that. He acted just all wrong. Plus, I don't think we're getting the same player back. It's a couple of years down the line. He's 32 now.
Yeah.
But look, if we do sign a proper frontline number 9, say a Sema, and Moyes says, "Look, I'm going to bring Ernie back on a free as well. He could be good cover." Fine, I'm not going to cry about it. If Moyes wants to bring him back as part of our cover,
I think Karen Brady's got an issue with him. Did she go on Twitter saying something?
Yeah, she did.
Some sarcastic.
Maybe not on Twitter, but yeah, she was throwing shade at Arnie.
Yeah,
she needs to learn to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I thought she was going to go for this Mayor of London thing. I thought she was going to go into politics, Baron. But I don't know. I thought she was going to leave the club soon by now.
I don't know about you, but I watched I listened to a podcast, and I'd highly recommend you lads listen to it. It's the Bowling Boys podcast, and they had Baz Cox and Sean Whetstone on there. Now, Sean's very balled in, isn't he? He's very sort of he loves the ball with passion.
Yeah.
Even he can't stand Karen Brady. And when I was listening to it, I was quite shocked by that, considering he's very balled in. He's very Golden Sullivan pro, but with Brady, he cannot stand that woman and he wants her out the door.
Yeah, Benny McCarthy called her the devil with tits.
Well, the reason with Sean is he's very close to the club, and something happened, and she used to give him a lot of news in the past. Very close to him, he had a number.
Wasn't Sean on the OSB?
He's on and he's on the. Used to be with Nigel Khan, and now he does another podcast, more than a podcast, on every Monday with Canning Town, Len, and 2 others. But he fell out with her, and she hasn't spoken to him. So perhaps that's one of the reasons. But he's kind of more neutral now. He was very pro in the past, but
because he was on the official supporters board.
He was at the beginning. Who
were kind of under the wing of the board, and were kind of lick arses.
But can I just ask you lads this though? Yeah. How important is it this year that the ball do show ambition though? This is
paramount.
Yeah, this is the moment now. I've been saying this for the last 3, 4, 5 months. Even during the season, I turned around and said, "I will know more this summer about where our board are at." Don't get me wrong, I want them out the door. I want them gone. But as a club, now we are in European football, I think it's about time that they showed a bit of ambition for us as fans, considering we've been away from the bowling 5 years now. I know it's people say, "Oh, you can't keep going back there. That's history." But the reason why we did come to the London Stadium is for progression, and this is the first season that we haven't been fighting relegation or been in a dire straits, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, James. Moyes thinks so. If you saw his quote the other day, when he I can't remember the exact wording of it, but just to paraphrase,
you're gonna show any trust and show any ambition, you have to back the manager now.
Yeah, that's it. So this does, to me, James, it's a great point. I think it's a great question, because I think this is a crossroads moment for our club. Given what Moyes has done, how far he's progressed the club in such a short time, I think this is a crossroads moment where they have to do what they were willing to do with Pellegrini when they got him in, and say, right, we are going to actually really back you to the hilt now. We're going to really go for it now and try and push this club on and make sure that we grasp the nettle, as it were. Because David Moyes, I think, has earned that right now. Pellegrini got it just for being Pellegrini, because he's the big name on the big money, and he demanded that he get backed, and I need this many players and I need this much money. Moyes, I think, has really earned it. I think Moyes has earned for the board to throw the money and say, okay, let's do this. You've shown us what you can do. Now we're going to really back you and really, really try to have an impact on next season. So I really hope they do, James. I have my doubts. I think they'll back him-ish, if you know what I mean. They'll kind of back him, but probably not like they won't splash the cash like they did with Pellegrini. I would love them to, though. Even if it means a bit of debt that we have to, pay off as we go down the line. I think this is an opportunity to go for it. What do you think, Jez?
I think in terms of the timing, I mean, to borrow money at the moment, historically, is very low, 1 or 2%. Tottenham's £1 billion loan, they're paying interest only, so they will never even look at paying any capital till 25 years' time. And then what you do, you flip the loan forward for another 20 years. In the meantime, you've got a ground and players who can bring income. So I think Sullivan's got to do it. And if anything, if he can't borrow anything, because we don't own our own ground, I think they've already borrowed the maximum against the training ground and borrowed from their Irish friend. I think you probably know Tommy. What's the company that give us the money every year? They're like good friends with him, aren't they?
Yeah, I think as a JP, I can't remember. It was JP McManus?
Yeah, one of them. I think Table used to be a good friend of theirs, but he's got to do it now, because if you don't take advantage and grip this, because this only comes to West Ham every decade. If you look at our history, where we get this good environment, good players, Rice and people like that. When are we going to get this next? We're right on the tip of it now, as you can see from the table. And but then the players are humans. If we don't add and bring in players that are better than them, then they're going to start. Well, like the Payet, you must have looked around in the training ground, Tommy, and some of the players that came in, like, he goes, "Is this what was promised to me?" It wasn't, and I'm not interested, even though he was a bit wrong in what he did as well. But
and
he's got to do it.
Yeah. And it's also how you kind of ensure that you can keep players like Rice.
And
if you make this summer, if you make 3 or 4 splash signings, like real quality players that will come in and immediately improve the first team, Declan Rice is going to be saying, "Oh yeah, I'll have some of this. This is what I'm talking about." He's going to say, "Yeah, I want to be here for this. This is exciting."
I think you remember David at Everton 10 years. He never had any money. He had a very good relationship with the chairman. Yeah. The chairman was honest, saying, "David, I'm trying to sell the club, mate. I feel so sorry for you. I'm really sorry." But they did things differently. So like you said, David is not one of those 60, 80s. He's more of the 20 million, 25 at max. But if we can get Souček, I'm kind of, like you said, I'm not fussed about the price. If anything, I'm scared after seeing Haller and Anderson. I'm a bit afraid now of going really high and then can't even get rid of them. So I don't mind. I mean, I just trust the people. Bring in, if he's coming and he's his choice, I don't mind, mate. Giving the benefit of the doubt.
Ultimately, I think you're right. Ultimately, Jazz, I think all that matters now is when Moyes identifies a player and says, "I want this player," just fucking go get him.
Just go get him. But I'm like you. Sullivan has still got a lot of things he got to fix. I'm not confident, but I hope I'm wrong. And if that 85 million amount is kind of true, I was over the moon this morning when I heard that. I thought, 80, 85? I didn't expect that much. That's more than enough for David. Get rid of a few, bring 25 million, 22, 21 million. I mean, but let's see. But Sean's not that far wrong, to be honest. He does have ears to the ground. He does hear things, and it's kind of a thing that Sullivan has planted, probably told him to go and plant it outside now. So I think we're not going to be, I'm surprised, but I think we're not going to be far from that amount, and I'm quite happy for that, because we didn't really spend that real money. I mean, did the Benrahma deal permanent, but don't forget, that was kind of a summer kind of sign.
It was going to be permanent anyway,
yeah,
wasn't it?
If the medical director plan in the summer.
Yeah, I think that was basically the Dean Garner money.
Yeah. And then, I think we got to do it now. I mean, because then if we have another good season in Europe again, they kind of because they're going to sell the club in a couple of years. I don't think they can sell it until 2023, is it? When some kind of tax payment or something like that. So after that, but what I'm really afraid of is if the kids take over, so they don't leave the club. The kids don't fill me with any joy. One of them can't even run the ladies' team properly, and so I just want a clean break from them. But yeah, you're right, Sullivan. He's got to surprise us and get. I mean, he knows we're going to be back in the ground, Tommy, next season. So he better not mess about.
Well, listen, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We've gone for more than enough time here. Thank you guys for joining.
I've done it all with just one rum. You lot made
Only
me dry.
one, damn.
Just one. Bloody hell, man.
Well,
I've been struggling. I can't even.
I need a few more.
I'm on Coca-Cola. I'm just saying.
I got water.
Coke Zero. Coke Zero. There you go. Free advertisement for the night.
All right, so listen, Jazz, James, really appreciate you guys coming on. Loved having you on here. I like opinionated people. I like people who don't mind saying what they mean and mean what they say. So that's why I invited you guys on. I knew it wasn't going to be dull.
Yeah, sorry everyone, James. Sorry everyone. I just love.
I love Jazz. Really, yeah, man.
Jazz, happy mood.
Jazz, listen. Me and James love a row. Me and James love a row. We have our own rows. Ask me and James to come on and talk about Fornells and Benrahma. You'll see rowing non-stop. It's brilliant. This is what it's about. Look, nobody wants to come on and see four people agreeing about every bloody thing. This is what it's about. As long as we all shake hands at the end.
Agree I think what it is, just to sort of round it up. I just think we're all passionate in our own ways, and we're all different generations and all. It's not. Jazz is a bit older than me.
You get.
I thought I'd get that one in there, that little sharp one, but no, it's all love, man. It's all love.
Couldn't help yourself.
Yeah, I know.
But listen, I really appreciate you guys being on. I enjoyed it. The time has flown. We had a great discussion. Guys in the chat were getting into it as well. Enjoyed it.
Chris,
as well.
I'm sorry I didn't let you get a word in, mate. Sorry, Chris, you didn't get.
I'm just here to be the moderator. I'm the one to ask the questions.
You know what I'm like, innit? Chris has got his boxing pads on, isn't he? Really?
But you know what? Look, at the end of the day, we're all hammers. We all want what's best for the club going forward. And I think we can all agree that here's to West Ham next season and hoping for a really positive season that we can all be proud of again. And come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons. Come on, you Irons.
Be sure to, really quickly, one last thing. Be sure to tune into Lee's show tonight. As always, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m.
You won, James.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And thank you everyone again. Tommy and I will be doing a transfer show throughout the summer. But this was the last post-match.
Villarreal 1-0 up. Sorry.
Yeah, but this was the final post-match show until the next campaign. So even though we've already done it, until next season.
Don't forget. Just to say before we go, one more piece of business. Me and Chris are planning on doing a live stream for the Europa League group stage draw. So we'll be on live as the draw is being made and getting instant reaction. Maybe if we're very lucky, we can get James and Jazz on if they're available at the time. And because that's going to be very, very exciting times for us.
Please,
West Ham fans.
Please, from us.
Well,
when is it, Tommy? What's
August 27th, 11 a.m.
Oh,
UK
my wife's
time.
birthday. I can't forget that date, mate.
No,
I might not be able to come on now. I'll get into trouble.
No worries, mate. But anyway, listen, me and Chris will be doing a live stream for that and live reaction to the teams we draw.
That'll be exciting. That's when everyone's going to get excited, mate. European draw, our names in there. There's some big clubs in there,
And none of your qualifiers. We're straight into the group stage draw, which means we don't have any stupid fucking July football qualifiers. We don't play in the Europa League until September. Astragugu lost the cup final. They lost the cup final.
They got relegated nearly. I heard.
Yeah, they got relegated. They got relegated and lost the cup final. If they'd won their cup final, they'd have qualified.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's them out the way. So I don't know if Domzale made it, but hopefully not. But we beat them anyway, so who cares? But that's going to be just just to actually touch on that before we do go, I'm sorry, I know we keep saying we're going, but just to get just a quick reaction, just a short answer maybe from Jazz and maybe first James. Like, how exciting is that going to be when we sit down on that Friday morning to watch on 27th of August to watch West Ham being drawn in the group stage of Europa League?
I think it's the start of something, mate. I really do hope so. Like, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to where we're going to be in Europe and where we're going to be going. And it's been a long time coming, Tommy. Let's be honest. Like, we've been waiting a long time for this, and we deserve it as fans. Like, it's like we don't ask for a lot as fans, but we deserve this. And I'll be thoroughly proud of the team getting drawn out of the Europa League.
Jess?
Yeah. I'm very excited, and I don't think we should stick our nose down on Europa. I think it's increased in value year on year. You look at the Milans, Napoli will be in there, Leicester, West Ham, all these Marseille, big names across. Lazio are in there, James. Don't forget Lazio.
Yeah.
There's big teams in there. It's a big competition, and very proud, very happy, and I'll be lucky as a season ticket holder to get the opportunity to go to the home legs on the Thursday. And I just want to know what it's like. You used to hear from the old people that Jazz in that 1981 and 1976. That's one of the best nights. The atmosphere, Upton Park was rocking because they're all evening games. Don't forget it's not Upton Park, but hopefully we can get a good atmosphere going. And
Upton Park was special under the lights. Here's hoping that the London Stadium probably won't live up to that, but let's hope.
I think it'll be all right.
Yeah.
I've been in there when it's been.
I think it will.
I
think it will be. I think on the Thursday nights, imagine, say a home game against Lazio in the group stage on a Thursday night at the LS. I mean, place will be rocking. I mean, I can't wait. We've waited. That I've waited so long for that kind of experience. A big European night at home, full house, 60,000. Rocking the place. I mean, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
And I'll just, thank you. I have to end on it. Thank you, David Moyes and his coaching staff and the players.
Leave it now.
And the players. No, listen.
David, 1 minute. He's just ringing me. David, 1 minute. Call you later. Sorry, go ahead.
Listen. For David Moyes, his coaching staff, for the players, for the huge effort that they did put in all season.
I think with the lockdown, it was hard for everyone, wasn't it?
I'm really grateful to all of them that we're going to have, hopefully some really great European nights in East London next season. I can't wait. And as I say, boys, onwards and upwards.
Yeah, we mustn't forget lockdown's been difficult. Football, good season has kept us going, and we've lost many West Ham fans, as you know, through the virus. So hopefully remember them when we go back and. So some of the smaller points that we squabble about, there's some bigger things out there. People have been depressed at home. I've probably not been helping it, but there you go. But really, channels like you as well. I mean, well done, the channel, American Analyst TV. James has done a lot of work as well. It's all the effort you guys put, just post-match and pre-program. That's what keeps a lot of people going. The content, something to watch for, take their mind off something they're not happy with. So many people have lost their jobs. So it's been very difficult, and hopefully everyone's kind of come out of it in half a piece, and we go back to some kind of normality from August. And when that draw's done, Tommy, I think that's when it's going to kick in that shit. Yeah. We're in Europe, mate, playing big teams.
When we know who we've got, and we've got solid dates for the games.
And don't forget the League Cup. We're going to join in the third, fourth round like the big boys now. We don't have to play the second, third round anymore. 2 legs against Northampton Town and things like that. So,
we get a bye. Because we're in the Europa League, so happy days. And here's to an exciting season ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. So definitely. Thank you guys for joining us again. Thank you for everyone in the chat, everyone who's been here. And for the final time in the 2020-2021 campaign, and until next year, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.